Good afternoon. I'm calling this hearing to order. This is the Committee on Consumer Protection and Commerce. It's Monday, March 18, 2024, 2 p.m. agenda. You're in conference room 329. For those on Zoom, please keep yourself muted and your video off until it is your turn to testify. For those testifying in person, I will be limiting your talk to 2 minutes. I'll give you a heads up when 2 minutes have expired and ask you to wrap up. With that,
You want to mention it's a joint hearing?
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I failed to mention that this is a joint hearing between Consumer Protection and Commerce and Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs. I welcome Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs to the table to join us.
Thank you.
And with that, first up to testify on Senate Bill 2997, House Draft 1, Michael Angelo, DCCA.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chairs, members of the committee. My name is Michael Angelo. I am the Executive Director of the Division of Consumer Advocacy, which is part of the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. We stand by our written testimony, providing comments on this bill, and I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, State Energy Office.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chairs, members of the committees. Stephen Walls from the Hawaii State Energy Office. We stand by our written testimony.
Okay, thank you. Next up, Chair Liu Assumption, PUC.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chairs, members of the committees. My name is Grace Ralph, testifying on behalf of the Public Utilities Commission. We'll stand on our written testimony, but would be happy to answer any questions you might have. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Blake Oshiro, Office of the Governor.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chair, members of the committee. Blake Oshiro, on behalf of the Office of the Governor, senior advisor. You have our written testimony supporting the intent. In summary, we request that you consider consolidating SB number 2997 and SB number 2922, similar to what the House had passed out in HB number 2407. I'll be available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next on Zoom, Henry Curtis.
Aloha, Henry Curtis, Executive Director of Life of the Land. The wildfire was devastating, of statewide importance, and the Public Utilities Commission will look at how utilities can be hardening their system to resist future fires. The PUC and the Consumer Advocate both favor open systems, open processes, but this bill allows for a non-docketed case, which would be sidelining stakeholder and community interests and would allow for a backdoor plan. The PUC said they would be satisfied removing that clause, the phrase non-docketed case, that has to be removed from this bill. Mahalo.
Thank you. Next, Beth Amaro, Kauai Hawaii Utility Cooperative.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chairs, members of the committee. Yes, Beth Amaro with Kauai Island Utility Cooperative. We stand on our testimony and support with comments on this measure. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Those are all the testifiers I have scheduled to be present. Are there any other persons wishing to testify on this measure? Please come forward.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chairs, committee members. My name is Jim Alberts, testifying on behalf of Hawaiian Electric today.
Okay.
I think you've heard this all the way along with the bills associated with the wildfire mitigation plan, but it's very clear that Hawaii needs a robust wildfire mitigation strategy. It's both urgent and important. The state needs a reliable process for approval through the Public Utilities Commission for both the approval of the plan and for the approval of the recovery of the costs. It needs to ensure that electric utilities have the tools they need to provide such a plan and to implement such a plan. And it also needs to protect the Public Utility Commission's authority to make decisions in regard to that plan. We've proposed 4 amendments, and I'll just cover them briefly. So the first amendment clarifies that the PUC would be the authority to determine the just and reasonable cost to develop, implement, and administer the plan and the recovery of those costs, much like they regulate all of the things associated with electric utilities. Our second amendment proposes that penalties use the existing performance-based regulation process. So today there's a process where stakeholders and interveners get together and work through penalties and rewards for performance for the utilities. So that would be our second amendment. Third, prevents civil litigants from undermining the PUC's authority. So in our example is if the commission decides that a power shutoff in high wind conditions is needed to protect public safety, that a plaintiff would not be allowed to sue for damages resulting from that power outage. In fairness, on the flip side, if inspecting poles was part of that plan and we didn't inspect the poles, that would not alleviate that responsibility and the plaintiff would be able to allege fault. Our fourth and final amendment, we're attaching talking points just for clarifications. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. We're here for any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other persons wishing to testify? Or Mr. Bukowski, sorry, I missed you.
Okay.
All right, actually you're here, but you weren't highlighted, sorry.
Okay. Chairs, vice chairs, committee members, Kika Bukowski on behalf of IBEW 1260. We did submit written testimony, and we just want to stand on our support.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other persons wishing to testify on this measure? Seeing none, members, any questions? Sensing none, we will move on. Next item on the agenda. SB 2922. First up, Michelangelo, DCCA.
Chairs, vice chairs, members of the committee, we stand on our testimony providing comments on the bill available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rando S. Nishiyama, Deputy Attorney General.
Good afternoon. Randall Nishiyama for the Department of the Attorney General. Due to the specialized nature of securitization financing, we submitted this bill to Craig Scully, the state's public finance counsel. He has marked up the contents of House Bill 2407. And we submitted his comments to the committees for their consideration. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Chair Liu Assumption, PUC.
Good afternoon again, Grace Ralph with the PUC. We'll stand on our written testimony, but would be happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Blake Usher, Office of the Governor.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chair, members of the committee. Blake O'Shea, Governor Senior Advisor. Similar to the last bill, we would recommend that you combine 2922 with 2997, similar to what you did in HB number 2407 that passed out. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Bukowski.
Afternoon, chairs, vice chairs, committee members, Kika Bukowski, IBEW 1260. We stand on our written testimony in support.
Okay, thank you very much. On Zoom, Henry Curtis.
Aloha. At the most recent hearing, the consumer advocate in the State Energy Office expressed concern over the prudently incurred costs phrase. The PUC also expressed concern over the prudency section as well as other issues. Life of the Land concurs with their 3 testimonies. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Beth Amaro, Kauai Island Utility Cooperative.
Thank you very much, and aloha. Good afternoon again, chairs, vice chairs, and members. Beth Amaro with KIUC. KIUC has suggested an amendment to the bill which would give our cooperative parity on the ability to recover costs associated with the wildfire mitigation efforts and potential claims. And happy to answer any questions you might have. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Kevin Katsura, Hawaiian Electric.
Chairs, vice chairs, members of the committee. My name is Kevin Katsura, testifying on behalf of Hawaiian Electric, supporting this bill and requesting amendments that largely improve the technical functioning of the bill without altering its substance. These amendments reflect input from the Attorney General's office. This bill, with our proposed amendments, will enable the expenses due to catastrophic wildfires that the Commission approves to be financed at a lower cost with less impact to customers. And again, we're talking about prudently incurred costs that are going to be determined by the PUC, and that the cost of the reasonableness and justness of the cost would also be determined by the PUC. So what we're doing now is just setting up a mechanism allowing us to make an argument so that we can in fact recover costs under this mechanism. We have some concerns with the consumer advocates testimony, especially with the financing entity. We ask that they work with the Attorney General's office. These technical changes can have a big effect on financing, and we ask that they work with the Attorney General, who has bond counsel, to actually implement some of those technical changes. We also have a red line attached with those changes that we have proposed. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you very much. Evan Oye, Hawaii Association for Justice.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chairs, members of the committees. Evan Oye on behalf of the Hawaii Association for Justice. You have a written testimony. Apologies for it being a little late today. But I'll stand on that. But I primarily wanted to note just our concerns in relation to the proceeds of the fund, and that there should be some sort of prioritization of the 2023 mild wildfire victims in relation to the proceeds from the securitization of the measure. So we'll be available for any questions, but just wanted to note that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's all of the testifiers that we have present. Any other persons wishing to testify on this measure? Seeing none, members, any questions? Seeing none, we'll recess for decision making. Recess. reconvening the Committee on Consumer Protection and Commerce, and the Committee on Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs for decision-making on Senate Bill 2997, House Draft 1. Chair's recommendation is to defer this measure. For SB 2922, Senate Draft 2, House Draft 1, the Chair's recommendation is that we pass with amendments with a HD2 version incorporating the two bills on today's agenda. House Bill, Senate Bill 2997, Senate Draft 2, House Draft 1, and Senate Bill 2922, Senate Draft 2, House Draft 1. This would make it similar to House Bill 2407, House Draft 2, which crossed over from the House to the Senate. Both bills merging will, in an amended form, will include the wildfire mitigation plan and securitization to improve the safety for our community as it relates to wildfire mitigation, and would enable the PUC to consider utilities' request to access cheaper capital, which could make it less expensive for ratepayers in the long run. The bill will include the following amendments. Number one, for sections related to the wildfire mitigation plan, we will clarify that the PUC would determine the reasonable cost to develop, implement, and consider a wildfire mitigation plan. B, integrate the PUC's consideration of penalties with existing performance-based regulation process. C, the plan will protect the jurisdiction of the PUC by limiting liability. And D, the plan will add technical amendments to the wildfire protection plan as set forth in section 269-C. For the securitization section, the amended House Draft 2 version will make technical amendments to meet the expectations of the market and other rating agencies that authorize securitization, and add a provision clarifying the PUC must find the securitization transaction would reduce ratepayer costs by a 5% rate cap for customers. Members, any questions or comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair as amended.
Thank you. Voting on Senate Bill 2922 SD2 HD1, Chair's recommendation is to pass this out as an HD2. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair excuse. Rep. Amato.
Aye.
Rep. Bellotti. Excuse. Rep. Hashem. Excuse. Rep. Hussey Burdick. Excuse. Rep. Gates.
Aye.
Rep. Lowen.
Aye.
Rep. Onishi.
Aye.
Rep. Tam votes aye. Rep. Pierre.
Aye.
Chair recommendation is adopted.
Thank you very much.
For Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs, same recommendation, pass out SB 2922 SD2 HD1 with amendments. Questions or concerns, members? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Evslin.
Aye.
Representative Ganadin, excused. Representative Holt.
Aye.
Representative Ichiyama. Representative Villagan.
Aye.
Representative Kong.
Aye.
Representative Miyake. Representative Souza. Excused. Recommendations adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are adjourned. Good afternoon. Reconvening the Committee on Consumer Protection and Commerce. It's Monday, March 18, 2:05 agenda in room 329. We have measures on the agenda. Senate Bill 2913, Senate Draft 1, House Draft 1. First on the list, Gordonito.
Hi, Ian Robertson for Gordon Ito, Insurance Commissioner from the DCCA Insurance Division. We stand on our written testimony offering comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Allison Uyoka, Hawaii Insurance Council. Dukti Haas, AGA Service Company, on Zoom.
Good afternoon. Duke DeHaas with Allianz. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today on SB 2913. I am Deputy General Counsel for Allianz in Richmond, Virginia, currently in Phoenix, Arizona at the NAIC meetings. I'm also co-chair of the U.S. Travel Insurance Association Law and Regulation Committee. The Model Act, a version of which is in front of you for Hawaii, has been enacted in 35 states. We appreciate your consideration and attention to this with all the other things you have going on out there. We stand on our testimony. I will not take up more of your time. We did ask for 2 amendments, which are included in our testimony. Happy to answer questions and to continue to work with you on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. H. Michael Byrne, U.S. Travel Insurance Association. Not present. Any other persons wishing to testify on this measure? Seeing none, members, any questions? Okay, seeing none, moving on. Senate Bill 3183, Senate Draft 2, House Draft 1, related to road usage charge program. Hawaii State Energy Office.
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. Stephen Walls from the Hawaii State Energy Office. We stand on a written testimony. Thank you.
Thank you very much. J. Roger Morton, City and Colony of Honolulu, Department of Transportation Services. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped down. Any other persons wishing to testify on this measure? Please come forward.
Aloha, I'm Melissa Pavlicek. I'm here today on behalf of the Hawaii Automobile Dealers Association, and I've been waiting to tell you that we've come a long way on the road usage charge. No, just kidding. We've been testifying in opposition to the state and county road usage charge, mainly over concerns on implementation. But the DOT has worked very closely with us and helped educate us about how it will be implemented. And at this point, with this county road usage charge bill, our remaining concern could be addressed if we could ensure that it was charged at no more than the parity with the other types of vehicles, so that there would not be a disincentive to have EV vehicles. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other persons wishing to testify on this measure?
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Tom Yamachika from Tax Foundation of Hawaii. We'll send a written testimony to be available for questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to testify on this measure?
Thank you, Chair, members of the committee. Tammy Lee, Deputy Director for the Department of Transportation. We stand on our written testimony and support providing comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the committee. Tiffany Ajima on behalf of the Alliance for Automotive Innovation. The Alliance submitted comments on this measure and has some concerns with respect to the open-endedness of the bill after 2028. As currently drafted, the bill is capped at a $50 fee through June 30, 30th, 2028. And after that date, the counties could raise their RUC on EVs to any rate and could raise the RUC even higher on EVs than compared to the gas tax on gasoline vehicles. So car makers are concerned that this raises some parity concerns between gas cars and electric vehicles. We offer an amendment in our testimony, which is intended to address this concern. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other persons wishing to testify on this measure? Seeing none, members, any questions? Okay. Okay, next bill, Senate Bill 22044, Senate Draft 2, House Draft 1, related to the controlled interest transfer tax. First up, Dean Minakami, Hawaii Housing Finance Development Corp.
Good afternoon, Chair, committee members. Dean Minakami, Executive Director of the Hawaii Housing Finance Development Corporation. We stand on our testimony and support.
Okay, thank you very much. Guy S. Suganuma, Department of Taxation.
Hello, Chair, members of the committee. Winston Wong on behalf of Director Gary Suganuma, Department of Taxation. We've submitted written comments and testimony on this bill. The essence of those comments is just a concern over the enforceability of the language. We noted these concerns with the previous committee and recognize the committee's report that we work with this current committee on trying to find a way to make it enforceable. I'll be available for questions afterwards.
Thank you very much. Dave Penn, DLNR.
Aloha, David Penn for DLNR. You have the department's written testimony in support with comments and a proposed amendment, and thank you for considering it.
Okay, thank you very much. Mary Alice Elvins, Department of Planning and Sustainable Development.
Thank you, Chair Nakashima. Harrison Rowe for the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. We stand on our written testimony and support. Apologies for being late.
Thank you very much. Tom Yamachika, Tax Foundation of Hawaii on Zoom.
Thank you, Chair, members. Tom Yamachika from Tax Foundation of Hawaii. Just to summarize what we've said in our testimony, we share the concerns of the Department of Taxation that, as written, the measure does not seem to be enforceable because there really isn't any reporting requirement that gives anybody the information they need to enforce this this iteration of the conveyance tax. We do want to point out that the conveyance tax as drafted is a documentary stamp tax. And it's not meant to attack controlling interest transfers of the type that is presented here. It's not a question of whether there's a loophole in the law. The law wasn't made for this kind of thing. So if what lawmakers want is something more comprehensive, we think that serious thought should be given to basically getting rid of the conveyance tax and putting up something more comprehensive in its place. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, Lindsay Garcia, Hawaii Realtors.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Lindsay Garcia from Hawaii Realtors. So you have our comments. We do oppose this bill. We understand the intent. However, unlike real property transactions, controlling interest transfers do not involve the conveyance of property from one entity to another, and therefore are not required to be filed with the Bureau of Conveyances. Charging conveyance taxes does not seem to be appropriate, considering that these transfers are not they're not transfers of are not true real property transactions at all, and often include more assets and liabilities than just real property. We would also echo the points raised by DOTAX and other stakeholders on the difficulties that would surround enforcement and collection. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Illinois NAIOP.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Evan Oy on behalf of NIAP Hawaii. We respectfully stand in opposition to this measure, primarily because, as mentioned in the previous testimony, there's some ambiguity around when this tax would be implemented and enforcement of this tax. And, we're primarily noted in our testimony, we're concerned with the impacts this may have on special purpose entities in relation to creation and development of affordable housing and how that might interplay and how this, additional charge through the conveyance tax might have an impact on that as well. So, we do have some concerns and we just wanted to note that for the committee. We'll be available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Arjuna Haim, Hawaii Appleseed, on Zoom. Not present. Laura Thielen, Partners in Care, Oahu Continuum of Care. Not present. Okay, well, that's all the testifiers that we have. Members, any questions? Seeing none, we adjourn for decision making. Thank you very much. Reconvening the Committee on Consumer Protection and Commerce, Monday, March 18th, 2:05 agenda, Royal Conference Room 329. First item on the agenda is Senate Bill 2913, Senate Draft 1, House Draft 1, related to travel insurance. Our chair's recommendation is that we make some minor amendments on page 23, line 2, delete shall, insert may. Page 23, line 2, after under, insert either. And page 23, line 3, after insurance, insert or an island marine line of insurance. Members, questions or comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair as amended.
Voting on Senate Bill 2913, SD1, HD1. Chair's recommendation is to pass this out with an amendment as an HD2. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair is excused. Rep. Amato.
Aye.
Rep. Bellotti. Excuse. Rep. Hashem. Excuse. Rep. Hussey Burdick. Excuse. Rep. Gates.
Aye.
Rep. Lowen. Excuse. Rep. Onishi.
Aye.
Rep. Tam votes aye. Rep. Pierre. Aye. Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you very much. Senate Bill 3183, Senate Draft 2, related to the road usage charge program. Chair would look at amending HRS 249-B. The county mileage base RUC shall be no more than the ratio of the difference between the county's gas tax and the state gas tax as applied by the RUC, and other technical amendments needed for clarity, consistency, and style. Members, any questions or comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair as amended.
Voting on Senate Bill 3138, SD2, HD1. Chair's recommendation is to pass this out as an HD2. Chair votes aye. Noting excuse absences of Reps Vice Chair Sayama, Reps Bellotti, Rep. Hashem, Rep. Hussey Burdick, and Rep. Lowen. Is there anyone wishing to vote with reservations? Anyone wishing to vote no? Seeing none, Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you very much. Finally, Senate Bill 2044, Senate Draft 2, House Draft 1, related to the controlling interest transfer tax. Chair's recommendation is we defer this matter. Thank you very much. We are adjourned.